I've listened to Flight B741 about like 12 times already. I've listened to all of those at least 30 times, and I think that the one thing I could say about this record is that it might be the most fun album that King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard have put out yet. Now, I'm not saying that it's the best, but I'll walk through why I love it so much throughout this review and how it fits into their discography as a whole. So, personally, I'm just going to say it outright. I think that Flight 741 is a 9 out of 10. Does it have the best songs that they've ever released? No, like they're not going for the grandest, Head On Pill, Ice 5, Iron Lung kind of songs here. But what they are going for, I think that they execute perfectly. So, what is Flight B741? After the Petrodragonic Apocalypse and the Silver Cord of last year, the band wanted to kind of return to roots. Make songs that just feel right and fun as they're going, rather than trying to create these grand, explorations of experimental music or like multi-part saga epic metal songs. And so kind of a return to also the Fishing for Fishy style, that which is an album that they released in 2019 that they did before, but Ambi, the main bluesman who plays the harmonica throughout Flight 741, was like a little like, well, we started that blues rock record, but it turned into a Giz record. So this is like an attempt to, with their new skill to turn into a real blues record, and I think that they kind of succeeded in that regard. And when they're in the studio, they gave everyone a microphone, really leading to what I think has to be the most collaborative King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard record to date. That is the sound of my cat pooping. Can you hear him? I hope you can. So, like I said, I think that this is a 9 out of 10. This album makes me sing, it makes me dance, and I hate dancing, like especially when like the drums and bass kick in on Sad Pilot. But if I were to criticize it, what keeps it from being a 10, even if it is so fun and the songs are good, I think that there's a little bit too much packed into tight spaces here, both frequency-wise and song length-wise. Now, frequency-wise, I mean like the songs are compressed so that they hit hard, which is a good thing, I think, because it's such a high-energy album as a result of that. But it makes it more difficult to piece apart everything that's going on. It makes it really hard to hear lyrics. Like, I had to pull up lyric sheets in order to prepare for this, to hear what some of the verses are. And it makes it rewarding for future listens, but it's hard to parse the first time, and it can lead to a lot of the songs sounding samey. Similarly, with things being too packed in, some of the songs I think are much shorter than they'd be if they were allowed to expand organically. Like, take Raw Feel, which is a mere 3.5 minutes long. It sounds like it could be 6-7 minutes to me for my King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard ear. I feel like that the glorious end of that song is cut a little short. But Flight B741 is a concept album with, I think, clear lyrical and sonic motifs. First, and most importantly, just in case you didn't know, is 741 in the B741 itself, which is, I think, a reference to the chord progression used throughout this album, going from the 7 to the 4 to the 1. This is a very common classic rock and blues progression that uses the Mixolydian scale, which, if you're a super fan, is what was used by Hell's Itch in Ice Death. This leads to, it's like major, but like a little cool, it's like the cooler brother of major, and it leads to like fun solos and like these happy, airy, like made for being played outside at a venue kind of songs. So first, the album opens up with Mirage City. At the beginning of Mirage City, you get like a little mini barrage of a bunch of the sonic motifs of the album before the song starts proper. Kind of like Motor Spirit has most of the, has a reference to almost every song in its length. So here we just get a few, but it's only in that tiny section at the beginning of Mirage City before it opens proper. Mirage City opens with some slide guitars, which might be for the first of the band, as well as Stu doing a little bit of a country lilt, like the way that he says Changi, or I don't know how to say the word. It's like off the Silver Cord, so it's like change, but with an apostrophe before the E. He says it with a country lilt that I can't replicate. He also uses his, from Petrodragonic Apocalypse, a little bit of throat singing, both in this song and Lisk, and I think somewhere else on the album, where it's like what's the line? In the nazar of my eyes, skyline. Like, you can hear a little rustle that I think adds a lot to the song, and the vocals on this album as a whole are definitely a step up in comparison to previous King Gizzard and Lisk Wizard albums. But yeah, so Mirage City itself. I die if I stay here, reborn if I leave. It's time for me to say goodbye to Mirage City. There's one of the themes of the album is wanting to get away from where we are. Either if it's to take a risk or just to escape. We want to just leave, but where are we going? Wherever we think that we're going is just a mirage, right? Like there is no planet B. If you're upset about, we'll get to this kind of theming later. If you're upset about like the political system in your country or something like that, like what are you gonna do, right? It's kind of what it's getting at here, but it does set the theme of escape. We've got multiple references. I'm not going to get too much into the Giz verse, but multiple references to other albums. As I mentioned, the Silver Chord twice already here. Change definitely is referenced a few times on this record as well. And then, yeah, we set up some climate theming on Mirage City as well, setting up the transition to Antarctica. But in general, Mirage City, I love the melody. Joey's verse is the third verse. It opens with like this, so I follow the crow, with like really cool harmonic backing behind it, and then like the big pump of Leonard Skinner Freebird ending to close it off. It's just I love Mirage City. I think that it might be better if it were a minute and a half longer and it was given more time to breathe. I don't know. I really don't know, but I love listening to it. So that sets us up for Antarctica. Antarctica is another song that does not have a chorus. It just develops in chapters melodically, but I definitely don't think that it needs it. Like from the opening, it has these like sloppy, funky keys where it almost feels like, oh, I made a mistake, and it's just fun and it brings me right in. The guitar on this, on Antarctica, it doesn't overstep its bounds. It doesn't step on any of the vocalists, but I think it adds so much. The scuzzy, fuzzy tone as well. Over this, it reminds me of like T-Rex Electric Warrior is the album that I think of most for thinking about the guitar tone on this. But I'm not the biggest classic rock head, so I'm sure that there's better examples. But yeah, we've got Cookie comes in here and he gives the Beatles vibe that occasionally comes up on Flight B741. Let me give you like what he opens with in case you can't identify who's singing by the names. I felt so home down here, had to step out of the heat. Antarctica, that's the place. Synthetic breeze on my face. Like that guy when he comes in. Yeah, adds this the Beatles sound when we've got the blues sounds earlier. It gives it a little it gives it a fun I don't know, difference between the two, right? It's not the same sound the whole way, and it actually immediately reminds me of the White Album in songs like Rocky Raccoon. This comes up also later in the song Flight B741. I feel like that's a relevant album of inspiration also for this record here. I don't know how many people will think that, or if I'm right or wrong, but regardless, that's Antarctica in particular reminds me of that, and the title track later on. But yeah, we've got some great memorable lyrical moments on here. So many ice puns. Dude, there's more ice puns on Antarctica than Arnold Schwarzenegger has in all of 1996's Batman and Robin, which really says something. It's gonna be a miss, I can tell. Got a snowball's chance in hell, and you gotta put it on ice. We've got Lukey's singing debut. Lukey is the bassist who people unfairly insult because he doesn't do like the actual bass on a lot of the albums. It's mostly like Stu or Joey, but like he nails it live and he's creative. He has the fifth verse in this song, but regardless. Now, some people might have a problem with how these songs don't have a chorus that you can go back to. It makes it harder for you to remember them and figure out how it all pieces together. But to me, I actually don't think that I see this as too new of a concept for King Gizzard. Like a lot of their discography eschews typical like chord progressions or song structures in favor of dynamic evolution. We go all the way back to Flying Microtonal Banana. back then when they're using microtones, the first like rock album using microtones, there's no established harmony that you can use to develop a song. So instead, they had to develop like with riffs and dynamics. Similarly, Ice, Death, Lungs, Mushrooms, Death, Planets of Lava uses all 7 modes of the major scale. And rather than having chord progressions, it's really just playing with the idea of a mode and a home note. So I think that Antarctica fits within that, and that's why the song can be so freaking fun, even though it doesn't have like a chorus to return to, or something that like it's easy to memorize on the first go around. It's no Mr. Brightside. Regardless, from Antarctica we get to Raw Feel. Now Raw Feel, like I said, this one I think should definitely be a longer song, but even if it's not, it's the 7/4 sing along jam. That's right. If you listen to the song, you could try to count out 7/4. They've had some sing along 7/4 songs, like "Blame It on the Weather" off of Omnium Gatherum. That song's in 7/4, and I think that it's pretty sing-alongable, but it's not as sing-alongable as Raw Feel itself. This is the second most. I'm calling it the second most Gizzy song on this album. I mean, the 7/4 definitely helps with that. And Cavs, the drumming master of the band, has been killing it lately on records, but on Fight B741 he's not taking center stage the whole time. However, I really like his work on Raw Feel in particular. During Stu's verse later in the song, when he's like really banging those toms, I'm having a great time jamming along to Cavs. So what's Raw Feel about? Like it's pretty much, we all experience life differently, you know. Stu later on in the songs talks about some of the extremes that people will go to feel experiences. Lukey hints at like, oh, what would it be like to shoot myself up with heroin? How would that feel? Should pull up the lines, but and then Cookie's climactic verse at the end is just saying like, if we peel off our skins, we're just a raw, like it's you and me, a raw sensibility. We're all kind of the same deep down, even though we go to different heights and do different things to experience like true pleasure and feeling. And regardless, we got the amazing refrain at the end that I will love singing along to live if I get the chance. Raw feel for you, raw feel for me, raw feel for everyone. I think that this, like I said, great sing-along track. I'm a big fan of Raw Feel. Then we move to Field of Vision. Field of Vision, the first 2 minutes is where the album, I think, loses me the most. We got a very basic, just drum pattern with like that pretty simple guitar riff as well. I'm not in love with the first verse that Ambi's going for. Similarly, I think it's a perfectly fine, good song, something that would have been fitting if it had a different production style earlier on in the King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard discography. But once it hits minute 2, I know it's 2.5 minutes long. Once it hits the 2-minute mark, the song really opens up dynamically, and like we get this fun bass run going up, and like the band's just having fun. We got Ambi doing the with the harmonica. That's what it sounds like, right? It's really amping up the fun. And then the final verse where Joey comes back in. What is it? Look at me, you were about a device. What? Sight can't sting. But yeah, he comes back in. He says he's lied to God. Faith dead. Stage plot. I've been a silly Billy. The silly Billy ending. It pumps me up, makes me feel good. It brings me back in on Field of Vision. Okay, if you got that fun part where the band opens up, you come in with this big punching. I've been a silly Billy. I'm back in. This is the King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard song, if there's ever been one. So yeah, after a little bit of like the Gizzy departure, that is Raw Feel. Field of Vision kind of brings us back into the Flight B741 concept album, the blues rock conceit. And let's go to Hog Calling Contest. Hog Calling Contest is the second single that released from this album. and it came out at 8 in the morning. Like I woke up, peeked out my head from my blanket, put my headphones in, listened to this, and was just like, what? And then I went back to sleep. But every time I listened to it afterwards, it just kept getting better and better. I call it, this is a barn burner, if there's ever been one. A barn burner. It's cowpunk, it's bluegrass. It makes me feel like running around a pit of mud. The mixing on this one, it's the most clearly intentionally muddy. And I think Stu he kind of seemingly acknowledges it, like, take my gift, it's made of mud, a masterpiece, a work of art. Is he talking about this song, the album? I don't know, but it do be muddy. But I think that mud, it works to hide, I think, the best musicianship on the whole of this album. The bass lines on this song go insane. And a lot of the guitars, there's so many muted notes, they're playing so fast, but like they're melodically really creative. Take Ambi's verse later on in the song. Let me try to... We've come a long way from the star sun. I'll be in Carolina first class with my piggy chums. If you listen during that part, all the instruments are kind of like, they're dropping their lows and mids, they're playing higher up on the fretboard and scale to really give this feeling of the song, of tension before it comes back in. And I think that dynamically it's really clever for what it does. Like, I hope that they make more songs, like Hog Calling Contest someday. Just toss another one on Omnium Gatherum 2. But yeah, this is some of the most fun lyrics on the album too. Kind of like Antarctica. This one's got a bunch of like allegories for failure or events that will never happen. There's when the rabbit eats the cobra, hell freezing over, the turtle winning the race. Stu talks about like, and I'm putting lipstick on a pig. Really, it's the song. The song is what a flight of pigs, like, it sounds like Chicken Run when all the chickens get on the plane. If it were like doomed to fail, right? And it sounds just like the album cover looks, right? Like with the spinning propeller and the "in my hooves start to dash until we hit the ground. There ain't no mud in the sky." I love this song. Okay, like it's weird, but it's a grower, and probably not a shower. I don't know if I'd give this song to a normal person. After that, we go to Lisk. Lisk, of course, is the first single off the album, and I think it's the best executed song on the album for its idea versus what we get. Compared to a lot of the other songs on here, it was kind of hard to piece together on the first couple listens even. You could really get Lisk pretty early. It's kind of got a little bit of like an AC/DC feel when we got Cavs' vocal debut. He comes in second. First we got Joey, then we got Cavs, the drummer, with his vocal debut coming in second with like the "no heart, no risk. I'm weak as piss, no risk. No fire, no flame. I'm always feeling the same." You know, talking about his tiny prick and, you know, so on. I don't know. Lisk, I run to this song all the time now. I love the end of this in particular. Both Stu, he comes back out, like I said, with the little bit of the throat singing vocals. But like, do you know what pumps me up? When the harmonies start coming in, the band starts expanding, and he's like, "This world, it spins too slow. Its tempo paints my world in gray. My heart cannot beat fast enough. The risk is Technicolor paint." That part, it just gets me going. I think that the last 15 seconds of Lisk are some of the, like, it's some of the best 15 seconds that the band has ever put together. Other themes of this song in particular, like Joey opens with "Trust in the lie you've been sold, yeah. Oh yeah. No risk. Tell yourself whatever you need to hear." Or the album's challenging, like, okay, what do you believe because you've been told to believe? And that's the thing that we'll come back to at the end. And as a bass player, I love this. The song's got like it's a fretless bass, and the main riff, it's just the low string doing boom boom boom, like the slide down triplets. It's just a fun idea. It's just a fun song. After that, we go to Flight B741, the title track of the song. This song is bookended by Stu doing like this. I can't do the harmony. and the harmonica just with my voice, but there's a harmonica riff that opens and closes it almost as like a teleporter, because we're once again we're leaving like that blues rock motif and going to this, I don't know, it's like a little bit of like Tame Impala. We got like getting Pipe Eye with Cookie's side project, trying to give you a different, like a 60s psych pop feel. This is the first song written by Lukey, the bassist of the band. And I think that it's a killer first song, and I hope that he writes more, because if they're anywhere near as this good in the future, I mean, we've got another songwriter on our hands. This song is fun, to look into lyrically, because every band member who's singing they all have their own story. Like Stu, he's singing he's having a panic attack being on a flight. He wishes that he were among the fishies on the water, and he's feeling pretty negative. But then we've got Joey, who comes in later in the song, and he's just happy and in love. What was it? I'll do it for you and do it again until the plane can't move. I'll go back to school and learn to fly. No plane can stop me from falling for you. And just the difference between the band members in this and how it all fits together in this kind of Beatles-esque, like a little bit of Tame Impala kind of feel, Flight 7 B741 track. It's just a fun combination. And at the end, we got the ambi harmonica bringing us back to our blues rock, which means that we go to Sad Pilot. Sad Pilot is the most played song that the band did live before the album came out. And that might be because it's probably the easiest to play. It's got an actual chorus, which is rare for this album. You know, gotta leave my problems at the jet bridge. Can't be telling no heavy luggage. Relationships fall into pieces. No matter how. But regardless, the riff that opens this song, that riff is probably my favorite on this. It's very simple. It's got like a major blues feel, but when I heard it, I'm just like, I can't believe nobody's made this riff before. It's great. And then the way that the bass and drums come in and how they come back to it at the end, it's just a very typical song structure, but I think it's executed really well. Where the live version of the song it sounded like a King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard song. This album cut is a lot more restrained. Thinking about like some of the voices that they put on, like Ambi comes in and sounds different than he ever has before. And he's doing a fun little voice. What is it? We should never let it get to this point of no return. Seeing death how to be rolled eyes. It seems so up, keep dragging down. Yeah, a lot of fuel to burn. It's a little bit different than you'd normally hear him singing, and I think I don't know. I'm going to be hearing it like King is always singing, probably live. You know, they're going to play around with it, and it's going to be loud and a little spread out. It's fun to hear this little idea where they're just like, what kind of little characters can we build for ourselves? So, Sad Pilot. It's about a sad pilot, right? Like, he's been drinking on the job, giving Satan a wink and a nod. I think that it's a story about like probably like a military helicopter pilot who's suffering from PTSD or some trauma, but like because this happens a lot of times with pilots who are working today, because that's, you know, they have the experience, they know how to do it, but these things don't get treated a lot of the time. But you gotta just keep on winging it, and you gotta keep it up in the air. My cat threw up, so I cleaned it up with my King Gizzard shirt, put on a new one. Why did I clean it up with the King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard concert shirt? Well, I have to wear them out so I can buy new ones. Otherwise, my whole closet is gonna be filled with King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard shirts, and my wife is gonna get the ick. Okay? I can only have like, I've got 3 right now. How many at a time can you have? I don't know, but I don't want to push it. Sad Pilot. Probably said those. Regardless, Rats in the Sky. Rats in the Sky is the shortest song on the album. It was weird at first, and it took a while for it to grow on me. We got like saloon style pianos rather than like the funky keys earlier on with Antarctica, and I got a bit of a Beatles vibe for sure. I feel the White Album coming through this song a good bit, especially when Cookie comes in. Cookie's got this fun line. But first he says, "I'm so goddamn filthy." That's how he opens, that's a cold open right there. But I'm making a detour bound by the pubs to eat a little lunch, take a load off. I did not deliver that right. They pack in some syllables into tight spaces on this album to fit these lyrics. The garbage man knows we're symbiotic. Do over, look out for a cat named Bruno. Terrible delivery by me right there. Oh, regardless, the Goofy story, it pulls me in. He thinks that like there's like a garbage man trying to kill him. I don't know. And then Stu comes in later, because this is about rats in the sky. Like, breakfast on my banquet, with puddles on my wine. I revel in the present, each moment a lifetime. You know, you're a rat in the sky. You get to revel in the smaller moments. You get to just kind of live life. And in Stu's rat brain sees how humans neglect this, but his rat brain understands that humans sometimes see this in flight. Flying places, you know? You get to leave where you are. There is a feeling of escape when you're taking a flight, even if you're just flying over to visit a family, you know, getting to the airport, seeing people from other countries, seeing wherever they're going. I gotta get through this thing. Holy, I just saw how long I've been recording. Daily Blues is the closing song. Daily Blues, 7.5 minutes long. I think it's 7:47. It's definitely the most King Gizzard song on this album, right? Like, it's still got the blues feel, but it's got it's got psychedelic production and all the riff changes that you'd expect of a classic King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard song. And I feel like it brings together a lot of the themes, right? Like from raw feel. We're all mostly the same if you peel back our skin, but we do experience and feel life differently to each other. We kind of hate where we are. Sometimes you gotta find that person you hate, grab them by the head, look them in the eye, and say, "I love you," and all the boogets go get fucked. I don't think that you should say that right after. That might not work well. But regardless, the harmonica vibrato on the Daily Blues, I think, it's my favorite harmonica moment throughout the album. There's a lot of harmonica on Flight B741, and if you're not a fan of it, I could see that as being a big negative. But I think that Andy is really good at it, so it makes it okay. It doesn't overstay its welcome too much, and I think it stands out the most on this record. The lyrics on the Daily Blues are the most direct, but I also really like faith only binds ideology. That ain't peace and that ain't free. Is it fair to be born into belief? That ain't peace and that ain't free. Those being binded to ideology, being born into a belief. These ideologies and beliefs are what happen. Like what we see the world going against, whether like on Twitter or on Reddit or just on the news or whatever, you see things going against your ideology and beliefs, and that's what leads to us having the Daily Blues, including whether it's you or the person who believes the exact opposite of you, who's looking at the things that you believe. You're giving each other the Daily Blues, and we're all getting fucked up daily. And I don't know. I like the theme of the Daily Blues. I think that it ties together a lot of what the album's going for really well. And the song ends with this. The b741, the nice closer, the bookends with the opening riffs from Mirage City, just to be like, we've been your pilots, Lukey, Cookie, Joey, the Kevs, I can't remember, Ambi, Stu, E, yeah, that's not the right order, but like, bringing it all back together, being like, you've taken your flight, you've landed, go have a life. It's a fun conclusion, right? Like it really adds to that concept album feel to it. So all in all, where do I think that Flight B741 fits on the King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard tier list? I think that it would either be on high A or low S. So like somewhere maybe like this between like the 6th and 10th best album that they've made. Because, like I said, the songs aren't like the grandest that they've gone for, but they're executed so well and they tie in thematically so well, and I just have a blast listening to this album. The more I sit with it more, and then the more I hear some like live performances where they take these songs and make them the lengths that I would anticipate them to be and expand on some of the melodic ideas, we'll see. It's possible that the album will go up, or I'll be like, nah, the best version of these songs are on the album itself, and it actually belongs in high A. But like I mentioned at the beginning, I think that this album will be underappreciated for some years to come, but that's okay. You know, I love being the gumboot soup defender, the Sketches of Brunswick East defender. It's a good place to be. So I'm gonna listen to this album some more. I'm gonna be seeing King Gizzard and Liz Wizard at Forest Hills both, I think Friday and Saturday this very week. So I'm having a great time. I hope that you are too. That you have a great day. You deserve it, and I'll see you next time. Maybe.